Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order this evening. This is March 25th, regular mayor and council meeting, and in the absence of the mayor, the city clerk opens the meeting, and then the council jointly approves a chair. So entertain that activity.
Need a motion?
A motion for Councilman Metzner to serve as mayor tonight.
Second.
All in favor, or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, the mayor is ill tonight and regrets not being here. I'm assuming, Mayor, you're watching us on TV. I hope you feel better. We'll start tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation from Councilman Munson.
We gather here together today, intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And announcements, we will be following the rules of procedure that were adopted September 24th, 2013. Please, if you have cell phones, make sure they are put on vibrate, and the use of cell phones are restricted in the meeting. All correspondence for distribution to elected officials should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the city clerk for inclusion in the official record. Meeting schedule, we will have work sessions on the 1st, the 8th, and the 22nd, a regular session on the 29th, and there will be no meeting on tax day, April 15th. We have appointments tonight. If I could have a motion for appointments to the Board of Traffic and Parking.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby nominate William Brickner to serve on the Board of Traffic and Parking with a term to expire January 31st, 2016.
I guess I'm doing mayor constable.
Want to do
Term to
Meyer
expire.
also, or you want to?
What are we doing? You're going to do both?
William,
Let's do one at a time.
let's do one at a
Okay.
time. They have
We
different
have a motion
expiration dates.
for William Brickner. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. No nays, correct? Motion for Meyer Constable.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby nominate Myra Constable for the Board of Traffic and Parking for a term to expire September 27th, 2015.
Second.
Motion and second made. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We have proclamations tonight. In honor of Women's History Month, we have 3 absolutely fine, gentle women with us, hopefully. Juliana Albowitz, representing Senator Mikulski, and B. Marie Byers, and Gail McGovern. You fine ladies could come up. Penny, if you come with me. Is Marie not here? I don't see her. Has anybody seen her already? And come up.
What am I
Big-
doing? Going to hold their hands?
Yeah, well, you're representing, you are.
As long as I'm not reading.
You are tied with Susan Solm-Wickline as the longest serving lady, gentlewoman, of
Although
city
I'm not
council
gentle,
member.
so we can forget that
And
part.
I think, if I'm correct, Flossie Murdoch was the first female city councilwoman, and she was an appointment. So we'll start for Senator Mikulski, for Julianne to give to. We have 3 proclamations. They all have a lot of the same whereases, so I'm going to read one of them in full and then the appropriate ones for the other fine ladies. Proclamation recognizing Senator Barbara Mikulski during Women's History Month. Whereas the great contributions of American women in enriching and shaping our nation are observed in March, and whereas Women's History Month is an annual declared month worldwide that highlights the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society, and whereas throughout our history, women have worked tirelessly to improve life for not only themselves, but for the equality and opportunity for all people, regardless of race, gender, or economic and social status. And whereas the history of Maryland is filled with stories of strong and courageous female leaders from Harriet Tubman to Clara Barton. And whereas women are also making history today, women like Senator Barbara Mikulski, the longest serving woman in the history of the U.S. Congress, who also co-sponsored the first joint congressional resolution proclaiming a Women's History Week in 1981. Senator Mikulski's political career dates back over 30 years. In 1976, she won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Then in 1986, she became the first female Democrat to win election to the Senate. Over the years, she has been a champion for the state of Maryland and has worked on behalf of women's issues, including legislation to get breast and cervical cancer screening and treatment for the uninsured. For the elderly, she authorized the Spousal Anti-Impoverishment Act to combat the potential financial crisis caused by the cost of paying for nursing home care for a spouse. In 2013, Senator Mikulski was the first woman to chair the prestigious Senate Appropriations Committee. Whereas we recognize those women of the past, present, and future who have dedicated their lives to active engagement within their local communities. Now, therefore, with the support of the City Council, Mayor David Geisberts, Mayor of the City of Hagerstown, do hereby recognize March 2014 as Women's History Month in Hagerstown, Maryland, and urge all citizens to celebrate the heritage, impact, and influence of women all across the nation. And if I can give that to you, Julianne.
Thank you.
And the next one will be for Gail, and we're going to go right down to that is appropriate for you, Gail. Women like Gail McGovern, who was a local State Farm insurance agent. She has been instrumental in raising more than $176,000 in scholarship money for the University System of Maryland at Hagerstown, adding more than $30,000 this past year alone. Additionally, Ms. McGovern was recently named the 2014 Washington County Business Person of the Year. And we give you that proclamation. And notwithstanding that B. Marie Byers is not here, I do wish to read the appropriate section for her. Women like B. Marie Byers, who currently serves as the Executive Director of the Discovery Station at Hagerstown Incorporated. Ms. Byers served on the Washington County Board of Education for 30 years as a member and president. She was also recognized by the Community Foundation of Washington County in 2013 for her volunteer work. She has been influential in the success of the Discovery Station and has dedicated her life to providing others with the opportunity to learn. And thank you very much. And would you all like to say something?
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you. I'm very honored to receive this on behalf of the Senator, and the Senator asked me to bring you her appreciation. Dear Mayor Geisberts and friends, greetings to all the people and elected officials of Hagerstown who are celebrating Women's History Month 2014. It is always a pleasure for me to join with you to shine the light on the contributions that women have made and are making every day to our great nation. Thank you for your generous recognition of my public career. While there are many others in this room who deserve this recognition as much or more than I do, you can be sure that no one will treasure it more than I will. During my tenure in public office, I have been blessed with the opportunity to fight for women and women's rights. I have joined with other women in the Congress to advance issues like women's health care, violence against women, employment discrimination, access to federal procurement for women business owners, recognition of women in the military and science, and the repeal of health insurance gender ratings. Now I am an original co-sponsor of the Paycheck Fairness Act to end discrimination in the workplace. This bill picks up where the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act left off by strengthening the Equal Pay Act of 1963 and will help empower women to negotiate for equal pay and strengthen enforcement efforts. Friends, I never dreamed of being a U.S. Senator or the longest serving woman in the history of the U.S. Congress. Recently, I became the first woman and first Marylander to chair the Senate Appropriations Committee. I cannot tell you how humbled I am by this turn of events. But while I was the first, I never wanted to be the only. Rather, I wanted to be the first of many. That too has come to pass. Now there are 20 women in the U.S. Senate. Before I came to the Senate, there had been only 15 women in the Senate in all of American history. I stand here today on their shoulders. Along the way, I learned a few principles I'd like to share. First, nobody, but nobody does it alone. You don't get to be me without a whole lot of we. Parents, teachers, friends, organizations. Principle 2, there's always teachers, some in surprising places. Be sure to look for them. Next, roadblocks are just new geopositioning systems to put you on a new road, which frequently turns out to be the right road. Number 4, everyone faces an incredible hardship at some point. Don't let it deter you. Work to turn the defeat into victory. Finally, act to be of service. Join with others to success. Create a zone of civility and disagree without being disagreeable. Know that each and every one of us can make a difference, but together we can make change. Sincerely, Barbara A. Mikulski. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't have a long letter to read. I do want to thank the City Council, the Mayor, and really all the people of Hagerstown, Washington County, who have welcomed my husband and myself here and helped us build a successful business. As the letter was just saying, we don't do this alone. We do this with everyone doing their part. So Hagerstown really is a wonderful place to live and work and learn. And one of the things that has always been dear to me is education. I think that that is the key to a successful and enjoyable life, whether you're playing or working. And you mentioned in here something that I'd like to explain a little bit better here. You're talking about how much we had given away in scholarship money. We have given away about $176,000, but we've actually raised close to $700,000. But it hasn't just been me. It's been a lot of people working bingo games, right, Juliana? And, a lot of people working a wonderful historical type themed function called Elizabethtown. Maybe some of you would like to look for that around Christmas time. We hold that in the USMH building, and we raise money there every year, $35,000 to give to meritorious students. We've graduated over 1,200 people now with bachelor's and master's degrees from your very own location of the University System of Maryland. So thank you for being part of the community, but it's not me, it's a whole bunch of us working together.
Thank you so much. I lost my agenda. Thank you. Next on our agenda will be citizen comments under our rules of procedure. We want to do that now? Okay. You want to do, okay, yeah, we'll do, excuse me, I'm sorry. With a approval of the council, we would like to make a change in the agenda. We would like to take under new business item J and move that to right now, if that is okay with everyone. That is the approval of the AFSCME police contract.
So moved.
Have a motion to modify the agenda. And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that will be next on the agenda. If anybody finds it in their packet, want to make a motion?
Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Hagerstown and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, local number 3373. This agreement shall run for a period commencing April 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2016. Terms of the agreement are outlined in the attached memo.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I think now we need to be doing some signing. We have representatives of AFSCME here. Carol, come on up. And I think we got,
Use this table here, Donnie.
how about if, I think we all need to,
Need to have council members come forward.
Yeah, I was trying to let them filter through.
Isn't trying to steal your thunder there.
What?
Did you want a picture?
I'll come down.
So appreciate Karen and Scott if they could be in it. Okay.
Guys, come up, we'll get a picture.
Councilmembers across the back,
Oh, you want a picture?
we have officers on the second step. Everyone take a step to your left. Miss Nye, I'm gonna ask you. I knew it. You probably stand next to Tammy. Dr. Kimmy. You down? I think I'm gonna stick in this one. Next to Varner.
Next will be citizen comments. We would ask pursuant to our rules, that citizen comments are kept to 5 minutes, unless your name is Robert Nye, and then you can be up there as long as you want. So Bobby, you're the first one if you want to come up.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And my name is Robert Nye. I live at 634 North Mulberry Street, Hagerstown, Maryland, and I am the husband of Penny Nye. And the reason I'm here, I feel that the crime-free housing was the cause of what I'm bringing forward tonight. The Mayor and Council are aware of the personal attack, but the public is not. If I am correct, no other member of council was personally attacked, only my family's home. This is about an email with photos and comments sent by a woman of my home and neighbors' homes on the left and right side of my home to council members and other people except my wife on February 26, 2014 at 12:05 p.m. I am not a public servant, nor is my daughter, son, or grandchildren. I am now defending my home against bullying attacks. If I could, I would sue the woman who sent the photos and comments that, quote, she, meaning my wife, has a property that was not good. This woman may think our home is kitschy, thus tacky, but we find local craft and folk art to be beautiful. It took some time to get every single email address other than my wife's correct. It also took some time to line up photographs of 3 different properties, yet the woman could not find the time or make the effort to apologize to my wife, me, and the rest of my family. My wife stands on her own 2 feet, and everybody knows she's a West End girl, and believe me, she can handle herself. But this woman or any others should know you crossed the line when you attack my family and property. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Next on the sign-up sheet is Mary Haynes.
Mary Haynes, 27 Laurel Street. Tonight I came because the firemen, you have the contract with the police officers. I would like to think that you've already offered the firemen a chance to come to the negotiations table to get them a new contract and first raise in 5 years. And I'd like to remind you that they're not just budget items. They're actually, according to tonight's paper or today's paper, your neighbors getting up close and personal with fires. They did that with, from what I could find, about 24 of them so far this year, structure fires. I also have a suggestion for the other way into town, the one that I keep harping about, that someone should take the Hamilton Hotel and make it into a high-end establishment where you could attract people into the inner city, the downtown, who are at this moment discovering that the facilities out along the dual highway are not all that great. It would be something that you could do to fix up that mess and also turn it around and make it a positive. Speaking of that particular mess, the city of Hagerstown City Park got a national recognition The thing is, if they're traveling home by way of 11, they're going to get to sit and watch my least favorite corner, and they can count the number of windows that have been knocked out. There's a new one. The one on the bottom floor is missing its glass, at least part of it. Now, let me see, what else? Oh, yes, to conclude, this is something that I read in the Washington Post, and I thought you all should hear it. Government has no choice but to act in the face of an epidemic of abuse and addiction that has killed 4,030 people from prescription opioid overdoses in 1999 and 16,651 people in 2010, far more than from heroin. Government at all levels is more than justified in curbing pain pill abuse. If that effort continues, the levels of both prescription drug addiction and the heroin addiction that so often follows it should subside. I have translated government into police officers. I think they have a job in contradicting the painkiller epidemic as much as they do heroin or anything else. And I do believe that's all, except I wanted to congratulate Councilman Alsher on his 2 beautiful children. 2 new sons. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks. Chris Kelly?
I'm Christopher Kelly of 1425 Glenwood Avenue in Hagerstown. I got a notice basically in the electric bill for the community garden idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's something that could be expanded on, maybe instead of just in one location, in several locations. The other thought I had on it is possibly maybe even to, at one of those locations, have the possibility of maybe like having chickens in that area, since we're basically not allowed to have them anywhere else within the city as a community part, instead of having it in a generalization. I've seen plenty of places in the county where people have them in their own yard. Obviously, we can't have them in our own properties, but maybe if there could be a general area that it could be done at. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. That is all the individuals that have signed up, or is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, we will move on then to city administrator comments.
No comments from me this evening.
Kristen, start with you.
2 things. And when I asked Mike last week, I believe you confirmed that the letter that we sent in response to Severn and O'Connor was a public letter. While we have had numerous conversations about this subject in closed session, it boils down to this, and everyone is obviously aware that the demolition of the Melp property from day one for me is one of my top 5 priorities. It has been, since taking office, and I think that, while the public continues to drive by it and read articles about it and things like that, needs to have some perspective of, just sort of where we've gotten in those discussions, and I think the answer to that is generally not real far. A large reason for that is, while I think that this council and mayor would agree we've made what we feel is a more than reasonable offer, it has not landed on receivable terms on the other end of the negotiation with the current property owner. And I believe that property owner purchased that for about $250,000 some years ago, probably well before I ever got here. And I think our last offer, according to this letter, back in September of 2013, was for $400,000. And I think that was a reflection by this body of its seriousness in wanting to take ownership of the property, take responsibility for its appropriate demolition, and return it to appropriate good public use. I think that's the goal that everybody here has, at the end of the day, and it is a shame that we have not been able to find amicable resolution with that property owner to that degree. I don't think that this council is going to give up on that issue. I think that, as we execute our opportunity for eminent domain, I think the public should be aware that those are sort of the basis for why we're taking that sort of drastic step, a step that I don't think we've in the past considered with such seriousness of taking, and one I think that if we could, with that property owner, would prefer to avoid, but it just doesn't seem to be so. And the other item is just to say thanks to friends and family and folks, well-wishers. The boys are home. Everybody's good, and it's a different experience. So we're enjoying it.
Martin?
Yes. Last year, the chief of police presented a very thorough study of crime and crime enforcement in Hagerstown. He did a tour. He talked to the chamber. He talked to business groups. He talked to citizens groups. He talked to the council. He presented this study to many other people. And to me, the core of the study was that violent crime in Hagerstown is the same order, very close to destination cities, Frederick and Annapolis. And yet people repeat the myth that Hagerstown is such a dangerous place. The study included cities outside the metropolitan area and on the fringe of the metropolitan area the size of Hagerstown in Maryland. The headline in the newspaper was, "Chief Deals with Gangs in Hagerstown," which was a part of the study, of the presentation. But I guarantee you the police in every one of these cities is dealing with gangs. I mean, it's just a fact of life in urban America in 2014, 2013, last year. Now, this year, the new statistics are in, and in violent crime, Hagerstown is the second best amongst all those cities, and is even better than one of the Frederick and Annapolis duos, but definitely in the same order of magnitude, which is what matters. Overall crime, we're in the same order of magnitude as Annapolis and Frederick, where people go to do things. So, the media highlights individual crimes at the top of the newspaper, and yet does not look at the facts and the good news, which needs to be at the top of the newspaper as well, or we'll just never get around the urban legends here. And I want to pick up on what Mary Haynes said about the National Park Award. It got an inside, the city wins a national award for its park, and it's inside the paper. I mean, when every small crime, every brick falling off a building is a headline, the rates we charge, the minimal rates we charge for our public facilities. So Hagerstown is not the crime-laden place that people purport it to be. And it's just the facts. And for 2012, the facts support it once again.
Thank you. I would just like to, thank the town of Williamsport. Last night they hosted the county chapter of the Maryland Municipal League, where Councilmember Brubaker and I attended, and he gave a complete report on MML legislative process. And the only other thing I would have is, Kristen, it has occurred to me that we'll have to get you a gavel. You now have 5 at home, so you can be the mayor of your house. So you have a full council
right.
working for you at the house, so you
I'm more like the
get
court
some
jester
practice.
at the house. I'm not the mayor.
Don?
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
Penny?
Okay, somebody needs to clear up. Sports complex, please. I've had people come to me and said, "Oh, we're going to have a sports complex. Kristen, talk to me, somebody," because I said, "Okay, you know what? I've only heard of this briefly, so can somebody tell me something about it?" From the county commissioners that have asked me to just people on the outside. All right, is there a story there? Does anybody know of any? Okay.
I'd be more than happy to talk to you offline.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine, because, they come at me and I'm thinking, no, the state of the city was supposed to have been about the sports complex. I said, I don't believe so. So it was, yes, and also electric cutoffs are going to be overwhelming. That's going to be happening probably within the next week, next Tuesday. A lot of really high-end bills. And that's it.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the minutes?
Mayor, hereby move for the approval of minutes as presented for the mayor and council meetings held February 4th, 2014, February 11th, and February 25th, 2014.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion is second made on the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next will be unfinished business. A motion for purchase of 64 East Franklin Street.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve an ordinance to enter into a purchase agreement for acquisition of the property known as 64 East Franklin Street in Hagerstown, Maryland, for the sum of $30,000. The acquisition is authorized per Chapter 235, Urban Renewal of the City Code. The property will be acquired through the Community Development Block Grant Homeownership Program. This program targets vacant and/or deteriorated properties for acquisition and renovation in order to provide homeownership acquisitions for CDBG-eligible households. Funding for this acquisition is from the Community Development Block Grant Funds. Terms of this acquisition are set forth in attached option purchase agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Discussion?
I would reiterate my plea that we reconsider purchase of this property. I continue to believe that abatement of this property is the better course. I have certainly in the past been favorable of buying other properties downtown that present a strategic opportunity. To me, this house or this property, whatever you want to call it, is neither strategic nor is it a good opportunity for some type of dual ownership within our typical home ownership program. And my hope is that we do truly do our due diligence in review and evaluation of this property, and my hope is that that evaluation will end up showing that the better course is to abate than buy.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
4-1 motion passes. Next will be a motion to authorize a 3-month extension to cable franchise agreement.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that the attached ordinance be approved to authorize a 3-month extension of the cable television franchise agreement with Antietam Cable Television, Inc.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor, please just say same by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0. New business, repeal the APFO.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that the mayor and city council adopt an ordinance to repeal Chapter 47 Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance from the City Code. Given significant changes in residential development growth volumes, the lowering of the county excise tax rates, annual waiver provisions, and the embedding of an alternative mitigation contribution fee in the county APFO, all since the city ordinance was adopted in 2006, the mayor and city council have determined that it is no longer in the best interest of the citizens of Hagerstown to continue with an APFO for schools at this time.
Second.
Second, in that, I apologize, it's still under unfinished business. Motion and second. Any discussion?
2 points quickly, and I think that this speaks more to the article that followed up when we introduced the ordinance. The first is it talked about that 28% that the city forgoes. The reality is when you read this ordinance in its very technical version, that 28% was pretty much foregone because the county has now this alternative mitigation which allows the developer to pay the county directly in lieu of going through us for payment and us keeping 28%. So 28% of nothing is nothing, while mitigation goes directly to the county. So that is point one. Point two, that the article didn't fully cover is that the County Adequate Public Facility Ordinance covers 5 different measures of growth capacity: water and sewer, public safety, schools, and I believe transportation. It has, in my experience, only been the schools-related piece that the county has ever really worried about whether it was adequate or not as development has been approved.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Now we're to new business. The next 3 resolutions all relate to summer play camp operations. The first one with the Hagerstown YMCA.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the approval of resolution to authorize the execution of a contract with the Hagerstown YMCA to conduct summer play camps for 2014 season from June 23, 2014 through August 15, 2014 at Helene Park and Pangbourne Park. The camps will each serve approximately 60 youth per day at a total cost of $32,839. Funding is from the Parks and Recreation Operating Fund.
Second?
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Next resolution will be with Girls Incorporated.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution to authorize the execution of a contract with Girls Incorporated of Washington County to conduct a summer play camp for the 2014 season from June 16, 2014 through August 8, 2014 at Girls Incorporated. The camp will serve approximately 80 to 100 youths per day at a cost of $15,000. Funding is from the Parks and Recreation operating budget.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Next will be with Robert W. Johnson Community Center.
I hereby move for the approval of a resolution to authorize the execution of a contract with the Robert W. Johnson Community Center, Inc. to operate a summer play camp for the 2014 season from June 17th, 2014 through August 19th, 2014 at Wheaton Park. The camp will serve approximately 80 youths per day at a cost of $25,600. Funding is for the Parks and Recreation operating budget.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Agreement with Hagerstown Youth Hockey Association.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution terminating the operating agreement with the Hagerstown Youth Hockey Association Incorporated, effective the end of business on March 31st, 2014. This agreement is no longer needed as a new operating board will take over April 1st, 2014.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Next will be an operating agreement with the Hagerstown Ice Amateur Athletic Association.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an operating agreement with the Hagerstown Ice Amateur Athletic Association for operation and management of the Hagerstown Ice and Sports Complex from April 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2019. The HIAAA, which is comprised of all user groups, has incorporated past bylaws and are seeking nonprofit status.
Second?
Motion second made. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Next will be agreement with the Hagerstown Area Police Athletic League.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment with the Hagerstown Area Police Athletic Club in Fairgrounds Park. This amendment expands the use of the HAPAL to the open-air portion of the former clubhouse building for an outdoor obstacle and exercise course, conveys skate park equipment to the HAPAL, and extends the lease renewal options until December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Next will be a motion related to the Appalachian Regional Commission.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and council authorize the submission of 2 projects to the county commissioners for funding from the fiscal year 2015 Appalachian Regional Commission ARC grant. 1, wastewater collection system rehabilitation and flow and infiltrations, requesting $350,000 in ARC funds. 2, wireless internet access in city parks, requesting $15,000 in ARC funds.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing
Just,
none. Oh. Go ahead, Kristen. Sorry.
Well, I guess I have a bit of a different understanding for the ARC funds. I look at them more directly as economic development indicators, and while I certainly had a lengthy debate with my better half over item 2, who often works from home and looks for amicable spaces to sort of relax and do some work virtually, I don't see item 2 as being an economic development tool eligible directly for ARC funding, so I will be voting against it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Passes 4-1. And next, we'll need a motion to approve the economic redevelopment funds for facade and exterior enhancement program.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve the use of $30,000 from the FY14 Economic Redevelopment Fund for the existing facade and exterior enhancement program. The use of economic redevelopment funds will capture the properties on East Franklin Street that are currently ineligible for the existing facade program due to state and federal funding restrictions. This action is part of the East Franklin Street Gateway Enhancement Plan and advances the city's vision for housing and neighborhoods.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? 5-0. Next, with regard to the carriage light grant program.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and council to approve the East Franklin Street Coach and Carriage Light Grant Program funded in the amount of $30,000 from the FY14 Economic Redevelopment Fund as part of the East Franklin Street Gateway Enhancement Plan. The Coach Carriage Light Grant Program will provide funding for property owners to install dusk-to-dawn coach or carriage lights on their facades. This program advances the city's vision for housing and neighborhoods.
Second.
Motion second made. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. And next will be the purchase of Water Division Unit 224.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the purchase of Water Division Vehicle 224, a CX-80 excavator and trailer utilizing account 528-5001-5892-C0117 in the amount of $109,345.
Second.
Motion second made. Any discussion? Hearing.
Yeah, just a note that it's replacing a 1993 model. It's over 20 years old, as I understand it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. Take the penultimate motion with regards to chemical purchases.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the expenditure of $117,500 of wastewater division funds for the purchase of ThioGuard magnesium hydroxide from Premier Magnesia LLC. The purchases utilizing account number 5471501-559117 will occur in the second half of fiscal year FY14 and the first half of FY15.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. And our last motion of the night, demolition of Waterworks Road.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the requested future demolition of the utilities department structure at 10831 Waterworks Road.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? The only discussion I'll make is I mentioned demolition of Waterworks Road. It's actually the structure, not the road.
Yeah.
Not hearing any other. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Anybody else have anything other than adjournment? Then I would say we're adjourned.
We're adjourned.